Yo! What is up, everybody? It's another week and another Titans Tube episode, am I right?
That does seem to be the trend.
And how? So our beloved Titans are taking a trip to the West World this week to take on the Arizona Cardinals.
No, hold up. I'm going to go ahead and stop you right there. Before we go any further, we need to pay tribute to one of the greatest moments in Titans history that happened against these Arizona Cardinals. Roll tape.
On the line. Vince Young looks. Don't hold, fakes, don't hold. Runs, throws, caught. It's caught for a touchdown by Kenny Britt.
Woo! Oh boy, a Vince Young 99-yard drive ending with a walk-off touchdown to none other than Kenny Britt. What a world that we lived in 2009.
Yeah, and what a world we live in 2017, where after 13 weeks of football, the Titans are 8-4 and currently sitting as the first seed in the AFC South and third seed in the AFC Conference, while the Arizona Cardinals are actually on the outside looking in, sitting at 5-7, and they are technically still in the hunt for the playoffs.
But you know what's not funny? What's really just not that funny, because injuries are such a bummer. The Arizona Cardinals team has suffered some of the worst injuries of any team this year. They lost their starting running back, probably the best running back in the NFL, in David Johnson, in week 1 with a broken wrist, and he has been out since then. And in week 7, they lost their starting quarterback, Carson Palmer. So Caleb, again, we are going to see a mediocre team crippled by injuries. So you know what that means.
Yeah, I know what that means. Sounds like another recipe for an ugly, inexplicable slugfest where the Titans pull it out at the very end to win.
Yes! Yeah, I'll take it. Ugly win is better than a well-played game and we lose. I'd rather play poorly and win.
All right, well, now that you're off your soapbox, let's break this thing down. Up to this point, the Cardinals have actually been pretty good allies to the Titans so far this season. They beat the Colts earlier in the year, and then 2 weeks ago they took down the Jacksonville Jaguars, which gave us the first place in the AFC South currently.
Yeah, but you know, the Cardinals giveth, and the Cardinals taketh away. Or they can taketh away. I think that's how the saying goes, because with a win against the Titans, that'll knock us back down to second place in the division. And it's all going to come on the shoulders of a former Jacksonville QB, ironically enough. Blaine Gabbert, former first-round pick from the Jaguars back in 2011, is now starting for the injured Carson Palmer. In his 3 games since he's taken over for Palmer, he has thrown for 719 yards, 6 touchdown passes to 5 interceptions. So pretty similar numbers from what we've seen in our other backup quarterbacks that we faced in Tom Savage, Jacoby Brissett.
So you're saying he's going to probably put up 400 passing yards in this game, like those backup quarterbacks do against the Titans.
Very good possibility, but we did beat those backup quarterbacks, so I'll take that. We got it.
And similar to those passing offenses, they have 1-star receiver too, which makes up most all of their production. I'm speaking about, of course, the future Hall of Famer, Mr. Larry the Legend Fitzgerald. At 52 years old, he's second in the NFL with 82 receptions, 9th with 878 receiving yards, and he scored 5 touchdowns. And
complimenting the legend himself is the J. Crew.
What? Is he like sponsored by them, or like the?
No, he's not. No, he's not at all. I'm talking about the rest of their receiving options. I'm talking about JJ, Jaron, John, Jermaine, and Jones. Seals Jones, that is. This is the double last name. Even so, none of these players have even half the production that Larry Fitzgerald has done for this Cardinals offense this year. Actually, the second leading person on this team in terms of receptions behind Fitzgerald's 82 is Houston Texans running back Andre Ellington with 33. So
that doesn't make sense.
Go figure.
But
that's big.
John Brown has actually missed the last 2 games dealing with a turf toe. I don't know what that means. Is his toe made of turf? If so, does he mow it?
I think
does
it's
he
like,
have to keep
it's like
it
a
trimmed?
medical condition, like his toe is
turfed? His toe is turfed?
It just means his toe's bothering him and he may or may not play.
His toe's bothering him. And also the backup rookie tight end you mentioned, Mr. Seals Jones. That is Ricky Seals Jones. That is the guy who, out of the last 3 games, the only ones he's played in. He has 9 receptions for 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. So he is a little bit on a hot streak, if I do say so myself. And as we know, backup tight ends love to tear us up. Just look at last week's game, Steven Anderson.
This is a tricky matchup to determine who has the advantage, though, Caleb, because yes, we're playing a backup quarterback in Blaine Gabbert, but Tom Savage threw for 365 yards against our defense. But we only gave up 13 points total to this defense. So what do you make of that? Are we good?
Yes, our secondary does tend to allow a lot of yardage and gives up some big plays, but we're pretty opportunistic on defense and can make plays when we need to. We should mention that Gabbert actually played pretty well against Jacksonville's #1 passing defense, so it is a hard one to pick. I'm probably going to have to say this one's a push.
A push. Oh, a push? Kind of like DeAndre Hopkins' technique when he's trying to get separation. Got him! One final Texans burn before we move on.
Time to move on to the Titans passing game versus the Arizona Cardinals secondary. Last week, we said that Rashard Matthews was expected to be back against the Texans, and that was an absolute bold-faced lie, and we apologize. So sorry about that, but he is expected to make his return this week.
Let's hope that he doesn't make us look like liars, because one, that hurts our reputation as a YouTube channel delivering Titans content, and two, for some reason this offense cannot find a way to get receiving production other than Delaney Walker and Rashard Matthews, even though we brought in all of these new receiving weapons.
So it's a good thing that hopefully Matthews will be back, because they'll have to do it against the pass defense, which has a lot of very notable names back there. Starting with cornerback Patrick Peterson. Now, he's had a relatively quiet year. He's only registered 1 interception, which is 5 less than what Kevin Byard has.
Yes!
Who still leads the league in interceptions. But I still think that everyone around the league would widely regard him as a top 3 cornerback in the league at worst.
Yep.
So
you're saying he's the best?
Yeah, basically I'm saying he's the best cornerback. The cornerback opposite of Patrick Peterson is 11-year veteran Tremont Williams, who has had a great career with the Green Bay Packers. Actually won a Super Bowl with them, but he's 34 years old now. You don't see a lot of cornerbacks that are 34 years old, so his hips are likely to give out at any moment.
It's so old. Another big name in this Cardinals secondary is a big name, but diminutive in stature, is Tyrann Mathieu, or his birth name, Honey Badger, as he likes to be called. This player actually reminds me a lot of a former Titans fan favorite, Cortland Finnegan. Very undersized player in the defensive backfield, but he's scrappy, and he plays with all heart. He's got lots of passion, lots of aggressiveness, so he's a great player. He's got 2 interceptions on the season, so he's a player we need to look out for when we're making passes downfield. Also...
Wait, do we make passes downfield?
No, that's right, we don't, so okay. I guess we don't have to worry about
why are we even naming these players? It's not like they're going to see any action unless Derrick Henry breaks through the front 7.
And then gets a stiff arm to the noggin.
Shabba! I think that's what he says when he stiff arms people.
I've heard him through TV. Yeah. Shabba!
Now taking the handoff and inside the 30, inside the 25, to the 20.
Also back there in the safety position is a name that Titans fans should be very familiar with because he was once a long-time Colt, Antoine Bethea. Were you pronouncing it, or was that just a sneeze?
I was trying to pronounce it.
I think that's probably his name. He's still around. He's still making plays because he leads the Cardinals team with 3 interceptions. So he's back there. Also joining him back there, Tyvon Branch leads this Cardinals team in tackles. He's entering his 10th year. So another veteran, a very experienced secondary that we're facing.
Mariota improved last week by not making any crucial mistakes in the passing game. Yes. However, he only managed to put up a meager 150 yards. It's going to be another tough sledding game for the passing game. It's going to be another tough sledding day. It's going to be tough sledding again for the pass game. It's going to be tough sledding again for this pass game, especially if we don't get Rashard Matthews back.
I guess I think we have to give the edge here to the Cardinals in that secondary. But we don't have to feel good about it. Next up in this category advantage is Arizona's rushing attack versus the Titans front seven. Titans coming off another, typical game, but which means it's a very solid game defending the run, which vaulted us. I think we were 5th last week. So some other teams must have had a crappy day defending the run because we're now 3rd in the NFL and only giving up 86 yards per game on the ground. In relief of AP's injury last week against the Rams, Kerwin Williams actually had a decent productive day. He got 97 yards on 16 carries. That's a 6.1 or something average. Against a very solid Rams defense. So I'm expecting that's the guy we're going to be seeing mostly if Adrian Peterson cannot play. And if those stats are any indicator, we should not take this guy lightly.
Even so, the Titans running game has been lights out.
Bing, 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 bing. Those were lights flashing.
Yeah, and as a team, the Cardinals are literally in last place in the league, only gaining an average of 76 rushing yards per game. So, I mean, I don't really see them getting back on track against the 3rd ranked rush defense. So, what do you say? We get the edge here?
I say, so say we all. Moving on to the Titans rushing attack versus the Cardinals front seven. Now this is a matchup that is a strength of the Cardinals. The Cardinals are currently giving up 99 yards per game, which is good for 9th in the NFL.
It's no 3rd.
It's no 3rd, though.
It's no 3rd.
It's no 3rd.
Once again, just like the secondary, they got a few big names up front that we need to take note of. I'm talking about Mr. Carlos Dansby and Chandler Jones. Dansby, a 14-year veteran who has put together a solid career and is actually tied with Tyvon Branch for the lead on the team in tackles. Chandler Jones is actually 2nd in the NFL in sacks with 13.
The run game last week for the Titans did appear to get back on track. Finally, DeMarco Murray especially looked quicker and more decisive with his runs. And even before Henry's long touchdown at the end of the game last week, the running game was still being very efficient, very productive. And hopefully that's a sign of things to come as we get into these December games.
We challenged our running attack last week to come out and prove us wrong after we gave the edge to the Texans defense.
Yeah.
And it worked. So I think they deserve to get the edge in this one after proving that they deserved it last week.
Now for special teams, our favorite segment of the video because it's just so telling and we know so much about the other team's special teams. Caleb, this is a very old Cardinals team, but the granddaddy of them all is Phil Dawson, the Cardinals kicker, entering or in his 19th season in the NFL. Poor Phil is only 18 of 25 on field goals this year, and he's 19 of 21 on PATs. However, the old man, old Gramsci Paul, did turn back the clock and drill a 57-yarder against the Jaguars a couple weeks ago, so I do love him for that.
But not enough to give him the edge over Ryan Suckup. Yeah, he missed another kick last week under 50 yards, but over the course of the season, he's having a much better year than Phil Dawson.
Agreed. And their punter, Andy Lee, he has been a great punter in this league. He is a former 3-time All-Pro punter. But this year, he's only 12th in the NFL in punt yardage average, and he's 28th in the NFL in net punting. Whereas Brett Kern is having a lot better season. Old Kern on the cob is back on the menu. It's pretty good, right?
Yeah, but the Titans get another strike against them in the return game because Adoree Jackson finally made his first big mistake when he fumbled the opening punt return. When he fumbled the first punt, but the aforementioned Kerwin Williams, Arizona's punt and kick returner on the season, his average is well below Adoree's in both of those categories. So I'm still going to give us the advantage. Well, that will do it for the breakdown. Let's get on into keys and predictions. This is the part that you really want to listen to. Cause
is it
keys and predictions, Justin? What could be your key to the game here? We haven't played Arizona in 4 years.
4. That's 4 years. That is 4 years. You said 4, that's 4. For my key, this is tough. I mean, you bring up a good point. It's been 4 years since we played them. We're not used to playing this team. I don't really know what to expect. I don't know what it's like to play them. What I do know is that they've got 2 players, one on offense, one on defense, that can make the difference. Actually, they've got more players on defense, but the most important player on defense I think we need to neutralize is Chandler. There's my pen. Is Chandler Jones. We did a fantastic job of protecting Mariota against the Texans. Jadeveon Clowney didn't even get like a fingertip on Mariota. And if we neutralize their pass rush, especially Chandler Jones, I like our chances. Protect Mariota and he will make the throws against this secondary no matter how good they are. I'm gonna predict, call me crazy, but a 6-point win, 23-17. Let me hear your keys and your score.
I'm going to keep it very simple. I would just really like to see a clean game out of this team on all 3, what do they call it? Phases of the team. I want to see a clean game out of all 3 phases of the team. Special teams, offense, and defense. I think we're better than this team, so I think if we handle that, we'll get enough done in our defense and on offense to win this game. I like the Titans winning here in Arizona, 27-17. Okay, you know what the craziest thing is? Last week against the Texans, we beat them in Madden 22-13. And what did the Titans beat the Texans by on Sunday?
24-13.
Yeah, they won 24-13. Does it get any more obvious than that the Madden gods are real and they are working inside of us to produce the results that will happen in real life?
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say. Wow.
Let's get through. The Madden gods are kind of acting already. So obviously we're going to be playing Madden so we can find out the result of this game because it's gonna turn out exactly that way.
Yeah, so let's go do it. What say you?
I say yay, boom, fist bump. You ever look at him and just think, you know, what am I doing with my life? What can I be doing to make an impact like this bear has done?
Anyways, here's our Patreon account. Check that out. Thank you to all the monthly supporters helping this channel thrive. Ooh. Yes. Oh, you're planning for Christmas? I'm planning for the playoffs.
Oh, shoot. Where's my priorities? Bzz, bzz. Bzz, bzz. Hey, Caleb, look over here. Bzz, bzz. I'm your phone. Bzz, bzz. I deserve all your attention. Bzz. Here goes again.
And also, similar.
Simmer down. Similarities.
Similar. And you know, Justin, very similar to those other backup offense.
We could.
Would that be funny? Tell us now in the comment section. I mean, very similar to those other offensive. We'll
get it. You'll get this line. Probably over the hill a little bit, past the prime, if you want to say. The peanut butter has crossed the other side of the bread, so.
Is that a saying?
Yes, that's a saying.
A peanut butter has crossed the other side of the bread?
I've had that saying up here since like 1992, so I don't know where you've been at.
I don't know either. Okay.